Hi everyone, we're going to talk about how to build an effective brand in just a moment, but before we begin, I need you to do two things for me. First, silence your phone and close your email. I know that you are in such a high demand and your time is so precious, but I don't want you to miss a minute of this presentation because it could be a game changer for your nonprofit. Secondly, grab pen and paper to take notes. If you're anything like me, I'm a visual learner, so taking notes and just reiterating the ideas that I'm hearing helps me learn them and helps them to stick. So grab pen and paper, silence your phone, close your email, just shut everything down for the next 20 minutes. I promise we're gonna have a lot of fun and there's a lot of great content in this talk. So this is building an effective brand, how to stand out in a noisy world. I am your host, Lauren Atherton. I own HeartSpark Design, and over the last 10 years, I've worked with lots of different size companies, from Fortune 200s to agencies to national brands, to help them build strong brands and build amazing design. And while I love the work that I've done and the experience that it's given me, I am most passionate about using that experience to help nonprofits honestly cut through the clutter and, stand out in a noisy world, which is exactly what we're talking about today. Because branding is so important, especially in our culture in this day and age, that an effective brand versus an ineffective brand could mean the difference of thousands of dollars for your nonprofit. And that impacts all the awesome work that you're doing in the world. So it's a big deal and it really, really matters. Now, most of you are probably here today because you feel a little like this. Now, I know I'm making light a little bit, but you probably feel like Waldo stuck in a sea of red and white. You are doing amazing work, you're you, and you're just hoping someone is searching the sea of Waldos to find you. And you probably feel lost and ignored. You're struggling to stand out. Your campaigns probably aren't picking up traction like they used to. Donations may have flatlined. I mean, although it's kind of funny to see it in this illustration, it's a terrible feeling to feel lost or stuck. And it really is discouraging, especially over time. And honestly, this is how most nonprofits feel. So if you feel like a Waldo stuck in a sea of Waldos, then you're in the right place. Because what branding does, and an effective branding does, is help you stick out in the sea of noise. And if you're looking for the Waldo, there he is. Some of you have probably just been scanning the screen this whole time. But the point of this illustration is that there's so much competition and attention in the world, especially now that people are stuck at home. Everybody looks like a Waldo. Everybody has the same platform. Everything has pretty much been equalized online, and people are starting to get kind of tired of the scroll, to be honest. They're bombarded with thousands of messages, advertisements, images, videos, just new content every day, all the time. And if you're not being effective, and if you don't know who you are or how to communicate with people, you're getting lost in this sea, and you're not making as big of an impact as you could be, which is a tragedy because you're doing amazing things. You deserve to stand out in a sea of noise. But the key to cutting through the clutter is making it easy for people to choose you. And if you're making it difficult for people to choose you, or if you're not distinct, you look like everybody else, then they're not going to choose you because you're not sticking in their memory. They're not going to remember who you are. And the easiest way for people to choose you is to build an effective brand. By knowing who you are and how to connect with people, your brand is going to get attention and stand out. And more than that, it'll turn passive followers into raving fans because you're choosing to intentionally connect with them and stay top of mind. So branding is a big deal. So there's 3 steps to an effective brand. 1 is to write a memorable mission statement. 2 is to create a distinct look. And 3 is to communicate consistently with your followers. And I know this may sound basic, but I guarantee you that most nonprofit leaders aren't doing this. And what's a shame is this is really cost effective. It's not expensive to write a mission statement or create a unique look or communicate consistently. These are all things that you should already be doing. And nonprofits who are doing these things are cutting through the clutter and are seeing results. And I guarantee that if you implement these 3 things, you're going to see them too. So let's start with step 1. Write a memorable mission statement. Now, you might be saying, Lauren, I've already got a mission statement. You might, but is it any good? Can people remember it? Can they recite it back to you? If not, then it's not memorable. So if you want the truth, most mission statements are terrible. And not because of lack of effort. Most mission statements are terrible because they're designed by committee. We've got to meet that person. Okay, they want that phrase and they want to talk about this and they want to talk about that. And over time, it becomes this Frankenstein mess that doesn't really describe who you are and what you do. And it has all these fancy adverbs and nouns and pronouns and all these things that are like, I don't know. Can I remember that? I can't remember that. The truth is the human mind can only take in so much information, and it's all simple words. That's it. You don't need to sound super smart or affluent or, need to be really fancy with your phrasing. You need to be really, really simple in order to stand out. So, a memorable mission statement tells people who you are, what you do, and why it matters. It's only 1 sentence long, and you might be like, nope, it's got to be 2, 3. 2 to 3 sentences. Nope, 1 sentence long, and it does not use fancy words. So leave your fancy pants at the door, and we're going to write a mission statement that is simple, easy to remember, and is going to keep you top of mind with your audience. Now, there's a simple formula that we use at HeartSpark with all of our clients, and it seems really simple. When you see this, you're going to be like, no way, this is too easy. But I guarantee you it works. So here's the formula. Enter your organization name, what you do, for who you serve, so that they can, why it matters. And that's it. So I'll give you an example. I'll use HeartSpark Design as the example here. At HeartSpark Design, we create strong brands for nonprofit organizations so that they can increase revenue and multiply their impact. Now, I have to tell you, at HeartSpark, we do so much more than this. We do websites, annual reports, brand strategy, logo design, color palettes. We do tons of different things, but they all ladder up to a bigger idea of creating strong brands. And that's what we want to be known for, because we believe that strong branding can help organizations stand out and increase revenue and make you even more successful so you can do more good in the world. So that's really what we're all about. So if at your organization, if you're like, Lauren, we do 50 different things, there's no way we can break this down simply. You can. You just might have to ladder up to a bigger idea to get there. So one of the things I actually encourage teams to do is, if you're having a hard time putting this together on your own, or if you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this right, get a few of your team members together and talk about it. Put on the whiteboard, put your blanks on the whiteboard, and literally list out the options for each, category, each fill in the blank, if you will. And then people on your team can help you refine it. But again, remember to keep it really, really, really simple. You don't want to get complicated here. Branding and marketing, although they sound super fancy, is just an exercise in memorization. That's it. We are trying to get people to remember who you are, what you do, and why it matters, and we drill that in over and over and over and over again until you are known for that thing. That's all branding and marketing is. And so when you're doing this exercise with your team, go through and take some time with it. And then if somebody isn't in the room, run it by them and see what they think. And if they are able to repeat it back to you, if they can repeat it back to you, then it's good. You're good to go. It's simple enough. If they can't, then go back to the drawing board and keep refining it until it's really, really, really simple. Another thing that you can do with this is to also put it on your website. So you can put it on your about page or even on your home page, depending on your content and your mission and things like that. There's a whole nother theory that we have to website design. But put in your website and then use it as your bio on social media. This is part of the magic of why we keep it to one sentence, is so that it's short enough to be able to use over and over and over again. Again, we want it to be memorable. We want people to come back and go, yeah, I remember that organization. They do this. They help these people. And they do it because this is why it matters. So keep it simple, keep it memorable. All right. So number 2 is to create a distinct look. Now, for branding experts and graphic designers, this is what we call your visual identity, or your logo, your color palette, fonts, photography. This is what makes your brand look uniquely you. Think of it like the clothes that you put on for, your signature look. Now, when we start talking about logo and color palettes, people tend to get really excited, especially visual people. They're like, oh yeah, I've got a Pinterest board and I'm gonna go pin some new things and find some new logos and new color palettes. So yeah, this is my wheelhouse. This is what I'm most pumped about. But I want you to hit pause for a second. So have you ever heard the term, don't shop when you're hungry? I know I'm guilty of doing that way too often. Buy junk food when you don't need it. So the same concept applies to your brand style, to your distinct look. Don't design if you're unclear. If you're unclear, and when I say unclear, I mean you have a clear mission statement, a clear purpose, values, you know who you are, then you can create a distinct look. If you don't know who you are, you're going to look around to everybody else and see what everybody else is doing, and then you're going to want to copy them, and let me take a little bit of this from there, and let me take a little bit of this from there. And the next thing you know, you don't have a distinct look, you just have a Frankenstein mess of what everybody else is doing. And I can't tell you how many times clients get lost in this process. And because out of good intentions, they're just excited. I mean, it's exciting. This is the fun part of branding. They follow a brand and they want to look like everybody else. And while this may help you, you're like, oh yeah, that looks trendy. Oh, I like that. Okay, we look modern and hip. Trends are not a stable game plan because they always change. There are trends. They're not solid design strategy. And if your nonprofit always looks like everybody else, how is somebody supposed to remember who you are and what's unique to you? So instead of running this rat race and like looking around at everybody else, a distinct look should reflect your mission statement. So if you don't have a clear mission statement, go back to step number 1, get a clear mission statement, and then put your values together, and then you're ready to make a distinct look. Does not follow trends. You do not follow trends. And then your distinct look should highlight what's unique about your nonprofit. Now, the best way to test out your visual identity is to look at your website. Your website brings together all of these different elements in, one place. And so it's pretty easy to tell right away if you're doing well, if it's disjointed, if you're like, I don't know how this is looking. And here are some questions to ask yourself as you review your website. So first, is your logo easy to read and in the top menu? Some nonprofits, I go to their site, their logo is so small. Or the icon is just huge and the type is small and it's hard to read. I should be able to read the name of your organization and understand pretty quickly what you do. Second, are your colors cohesive and pleasant? Third, do you have photos or videos that clearly tell your story? And fourth, is your donate button easy to find in the main menu? I can't tell you how many times donate buttons are like down on the page or click on a banner or, in the main menu, but they're not a bright colored button, and that defeats the purpose. You want people to donate. So you need to make it straightforward. Now, if you answered no to any of these questions, it might be time for an update. Now, you might be saying, Lauren, I have no idea if I'm getting this right. How can I be sure that I have a memorable mission statement or, a distinct look that's going to set me apart from everybody else? At the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you access to a free PDF that'll help you objectively look at your brand and figure out if it's time for you to rebrand. And don't freak out. Rebranding is just a realignment of your brand so that it better connects with your audience. Now, some brands, this is like demolition, start from the ground and build up. But for most nonprofits, it's really, okay, you've got some good things going, let's just make them better. And so it's really just working with what you have, taking a hard look at what you're doing and improving from there. And so the brand checkup PDF guide is going to be a great resource for you if you're not sure if you're doing it right, or not sure if you need to rebrand, if this is like SOS, we need help. And the truth is that over time, every nonprofit needs to rebrand. As you grow and change, your audience grows and changes, to stay relevant, you really need to be growing your nonprofit and rebranding and evolving over time. So, all right, we made it through the first steps to building an effective brand. The final is to communicate consistently with your community. And to put it simply, show up for your people. I can't tell you how many nonprofits they get, email subscribers or donors, and then the donors never hear from them again. And I can't tell you what a missed opportunity that is. Now, people are bombarded with information, and right now, if you're out of sight, you're probably out of mind. So show up for your people. And I know you're busy. I can literally feel you rolling your eyes through me through the screen at the idea of adding more to-dos to your list. But you cannot afford to miss this step. And the good news is you can automate or delegate a lot of these tasks, and there's not that many. So really communicating consistently can be a lot easier than it sounds. I know email providers like MailChimp or social media schedulers like Later allow you to schedule posts and emails ahead of time and automate the process. So as soon as someone joins your donor list, you can send them an email thanking them and put them into an ongoing list of emails that, onboards them to your nonprofit. There's so many easy ways to do this where you don't have to touch a thing. You can literally be building relationship with people overnight. Okay, so to begin, I really recommend that you start with at least 3 social media posts and 1 email per week to your email list. And so what I do with my business is at the beginning of the week, I set aside 2 hours every week, every Monday morning, and I write an email for that week. So I kind of look at what's going on, get a pulse at, what's happening in the world, what's happening with my business, and then send an email to my list just to keep up updated. And the truth is, not everyone reads every email list. You don't read every email. So that's okay if it's short and sweet and just concise. And keep it short and sweet. You don't have to write a novel for every email that you write. So after I finish my emails, kind of get an idea of what I'm focusing on for that week. Then I'll put together 3 social media posts and schedule them out. So that way I don't have to worry about it every day. I get it scheduled, set, and forget it. And then throughout the week, the only time I'm checking in on social media is really to engage with people and, comment, like, and just really be present in that time. Now, one of the best things I've seen with multiple nonprofits is if you've got someone new to your team or, a bright young talent. So maybe someone who's just out of college or, just in the workforce or even in high school, this would be a great way to engage them and allow them to learn more about your organization. So they can help you put together posts and really think about this from a fresh perspective. So this is a great way to delegate these tasks to them and work with them to build up your communication strategy. Now, if you've already been doing this and you aren't seeing much of a return, take a hard look at what content you're posting, and it might be time to change it up. Consistent communication is the key to connecting with your audience to see what works. So like I said earlier, over time, your brand will grow and evolve, but consistently communicating is a great way to keep a pulse on what people are reacting to and what are people unsubscribing to and what are people commenting more on and what do they like to see about your nonprofit. If you're not communicating, that's just like a dead phone line. That people are on the other end like, is anybody there? I don't know. And you're going to be forgotten. I mean, out of sight, out of mind. And so if you're feeling stuck or if you've been, writing things for a while or putting content out there for a while, it might be time to change up your strategy. Here are some post ideas to engage with your community. And each of these ideas can be used on email or in social media, and it will yield a great return, I promise you. First is to provide value and tell stories. One of the great ways to think about this is, instead of talking about nonprofit and like, oh, all the things, great things that we're doing in the world, tell stories of other people that are connecting with your nonprofit and, how you're able to help or you're able to feature them. And this kind of ties into point number 2, highlight members of your team or key donors. If there's people who have been connected to your organization for years, talk about them, show them, some gratitude, and you put them on the spotlight a little bit and thank them for all the hard work that they're doing. And at the end of that type of post and highlighting members of your team, call for volunteers. There's nothing more encouraging than hearing that someone's been part of a nonprofit for years and that they love it and that they love working with you, because that tells new volunteers like, oh my gosh, hey, they're actually doing something really awesome. I want to be a part of that. And so it's a great opportunity to call for volunteers by highlighting stories of your team members. Third is to collaborate with other organizations in your area or in your sector. So although this may be counterintuitive, you're like, Lauren, I don't want to put effort into, promoting someone else. Listen, there's a saying that rising tide lifts all boats. If we all look out for each other and we're encouraging each other and featuring each other, that does multiple things for your brand that I can't even quantify for you. I mean, first, it helps you, when people see that, they go, wow, they're really, connected to the community, and wow, they're not all about themselves. They're really about other nonprofits too. And then they see a bigger picture of like, wow, look at all these nonprofits working together. I mean, it really is it can be monumental for your brand. Plus, you can tap into a whole new audience just by featuring another nonprofit that you may not have had access to before. And then you've got all those people who are like, oh, wow, the nonprofit I love is connected to another nonprofit. Oh, I might love what they're doing. And it's amazing. It can really build some huge groundswell for your brand. And then the last suggestion here, post idea, is to ask people for help. Be clear about your needs. I can't tell you how many times I'll go to a post on social media and there's, talking about important work you're doing. And then it's like, at the end of it, it's like a link in an Instagram post. It's like, that doesn't do anything. No one's going to follow that. It's like, you've got to get real specific about what you need right now. So if in quarantine, let's just say, we need donations that will go toward, cleaners to keep our organization safe. It could go toward food preservation because people aren't coming in and getting as much food as they used to, things like that. You need to be really specific about what you need and then ask for help. Because people, when you just say, donate now, people are kind of like, okay, but what, when you get real specific about what you need or, become a volunteer, well, what kind of volunteer do you need? You can really, really get people more engaged by getting specific about what you need. So those are just 4 quick ideas of posts that you can use for your nonprofit and start implementing as soon as this week, and you're going to see results. So to recap, consistent communication keeps your profit top of mind. It can be automated or delegated. Don't forget this step. And it turns passive followers into raving fans. Now, these are the 3 steps to build an effective brand, but the truth is the best brands are actually built consistently over time. You have to evolve and change as you grow and get to know your community better. But if it's been a while since you've taken a hard look at your message and style and your brand, it's time for a checkup. And if you really want to know how you're doing, there's 5 simple signs, and we'll walk through this in the PDF guide of, how to tell if your nonprofit's ready for a rebrand. And we put together this free PDF to help you measure the health of your brand and to objectively determine if you're in need for refresh. So instead of being like, oh, we're fine, oh, we're good, these are objective signs that you can look at and go, okay, we passed that one, we failed that one. Okay, that might be a blind spot for us. And that will be critical to growing your nonprofit over the next couple of years. So if you truly want to know how effective your brand is right now and where there might be blind spots, head over to heartsparkdesign.com/brand checkup to get your free copy of the brand checkup today. I guarantee in less than an hour, you're going to know how healthy your brand is. And even with each of these signs, we have quick ways to improve. So even if you're like, we can't do a full rebrand right now, there's quick tricks and tips to just help you, improve a little bit, improve from where you are today. So that's available to you, heartsparkdesign.com/brand checkup. And, we love at HeartSpark, we love helping nonprofits succeed and grow, especially during these crazy times that we're in. We want you positioned so that when we all come out of this quarantine, your brand is stronger than ever and your nonprofit has more revenue than ever before. That's really the goal of building an effective brand and standing out in a noisy world, is so that you can grow, and with that revenue, you can do more good in the world. Because we know you're doing important things and you deserve to look awesome while you do it. So we really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching this webinar. I hope it's been helpful. And I look forward to hearing about how, it may have shifted a few things in your brand that helps you stand out and cut through the clutter and, come out even stronger than ever. I'm grateful for you. Stay safe out there, and I hope to hear from you soon.